Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we have the source material covering President Trump's 2026 address to Congress. And I think we need to start by just acknowledging the sheer physical and mental endurance required to even engage with this event.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're listening to this right now and you didn't have the time to watch it live, do not feel bad at all. The official runtime was 4 hours and 42 minutes.
Almost 5 hours.
Yes.
That is longer than a flight from New York to LA. And this is on a Tuesday night.
Right. So our goal today is to save you those 5 hours. We've gone through all the transcripts, the executive orders, and the descriptions of the sheer spectacle to figure out what actually happened.
Was this just a very long speech, or was it a fundamental rewriting of how the government functions?
Let's start right there with the packaging, because before the president even stepped foot into the Capitol, the White House released a statement preemptively changing the name of the event.
It wasn't the State of the Union.
No. The official press release called it the State of the Tremendous Union.
Which is such a specific, fascinating choice. It shifts the entire context immediately. When you hear State of the Union, it sounds like a medical checkup, you know?
Or a quarterly report. It implies we're going to look at the data and see how we're doing.
Right. Whereas the State of the Tremendous Union implies the grade has already been given. It's not an assessment anymore. It's a review.
Like a 5-star rating on a hotel website?
Yes, exactly. And the entrance really drove that home. Usually, the sergeant at arms announces the president. Everyone claps politely. He walks down the aisle, maybe shakes a few hands. It's very somber and rooted in tradition.
Well, this was rooted in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
The report compares the atmosphere inside the House chamber to a heavyweight title fight.
And it was an EDM remix of God Bless the USA, blasting at what the source describes as concert volume. And it wasn't just audio. There were indoor pyrotechnics involved, too.
Which actually caused a safety incident. We have to make sure we mention that.
Right, the fire.
Yeah, the pyrotechnics apparently set fire to a decorative tapestry near the speaker's rostrum.
A literal fire inside the Capitol building during the intro.
And the response to that was very telling. The show just went on. President Trump walked out, apparently completely ignored the smell of sulfur and burning fabric, and opened with a claim that the union is frankly better than anyone has ever seen, maybe in the history of the universe.
It's setting the stage for everything that follows. If the union is already tremendous, then the policies aren't about fixing problems, they're about adding amenities.
Governance as a VIP experience.
That is a perfect way to put it. And that philosophy, that customer service approach to the nation state is the key to understanding the first major segment of the speech, the quote-unquote economic miracle.
This took up the first hour.
He starts with inflation. Now, usually a politician is going to cite the consumer price index or talk about interest rates.
Trump's framing was much more kinetic. He claimed he personally wrestled inflation to the ground like a dog.
But that was just the warm-up for the actual policy proposal.
The proposal is to abolish the IRS entirely.
Totally get rid of it. Now, we've heard abolish the IRS as a slogan before. That's standard libertarian fare.
Right.
But the replacement mechanism that he laid out, that is where this goes completely off the rails.
It's called the Trump Revenue Wheel.
The Trump Revenue Wheel. 2 Secret Service agents, men in dark suits with earpieces and serious faces, literally wheel out this massive, glittering carnival wheel right onto the House floor. And the proposal is that April 15th tax day is no longer about filing forms.
No, it becomes a mandatory, nationally televised event.
A game show.
Yes. The president told the chamber, maybe you pay 0 taxes. Maybe you win a jet ski. Maybe you have to fund the Department of Transportation for a week.
Just pause and think about the variance there for a second.
The spread of outcomes is insane.
You could walk away with a jet ski, or you could be personally responsible for fixing potholes in Ohio for 7 days.
He was quoted saying, "It's all up to chance. Very exciting. The ratings are going to be unbelievable."
The source material actually mentions a giant gold-plated pie chart they use to show the wedges on the wheel.
Right.
One wedge says total tax amnesty. Another one says you pay for a mile of the wall.
What stands out to me here is the massive shift in philosophy regarding civic duty. Traditionally, taxes are the price we pay for civilization. It's a shared burden and it's predictable. This proposal argues that the old system was bad, not because the tax rates were too high, but because it was boring. It gamifies citizenship.
It takes the certainty out of death and taxes and replaces it with high-stakes gambling.
It creates a dopamine loop around funding the government.
Precisely. It connects fiscal policy directly to television ratings.
If the tax code isn't generating viewership, if people aren't tuning in to see if their neighbor goes bankrupt or wins a boat, then in this worldview, it's a failed policy. And it removes the government from the role of the bad guy taking your money. Now it's just luck. It's fate. So we have the economy turned into a game show.
Right.
Then around hour 3, we move to foreign policy. And this is where the map of the world and honestly, the solar system gets a major redesign.
We have to talk about Greenland.
We do. This has been a rumor for a long time, going all the way back to his first term. Everyone kind of laughed it off back then.
But according to this address, it's a done deal.
The president announced the successful purchase of Greenland from Denmark.
Just like that.
And the terms of the deal are, well, they are very 2026.
Right.
He said he called up the Danish government and offered them 3 billion Trump coins.
Which is the new national cryptocurrency he announced earlier in the speech.
Correct. We glossed over it. But yes, the U.S. seemingly has a crypto now. And this is the sweetener that apparently sealed the deal he promised to, quote, comp your entire parliament for a weekend at Mar-a-Lago.
Wait, so this sovereignty of a massive landmass was traded for crypto and a hotel voucher?
Essentially, yes. And according to the president, they folded immediately.
Whoa.
He actually took a moment during the speech to roast the former Danish prime minister from back in 2019, calling her a terrible negotiator for thinking the idea was absurd back then.
And what is the plan for Greenland now that we, quote unquote, own it?
He says they're turning Nuuk into a world-class golf resort.
Of course they are.
But there's specific detail in the report about the environmental policy for this new resort that I found absolutely fascinating.
Oh, the polar bear rule?
Yes. No polar bears allowed on the greens.
Which implies what exactly? That there's someone out there enforcing that?
Is the Secret Service guarding the 9th hole from wildlife?
It implies a very active security detail, yes. But again, it fits the luxury union theme perfectly. It's treating a massive geopolitical acquisition like a real estate development deal.
It's not about strategic depth or mineral rights. It's about amenities.
It's about the view.
Speaking of views, he didn't stop at Earth. The president complained that the moon is just sitting up there doing nothing.
No branding, no vision. I think that was the exact quote.
He looks at a blank surface in the night sky and sees wasted ad inventory.
To him, an unbranded moon is a failure of imagination.
So to counter what he sees as a lack of utilization, he announced the Trump Lunar Sphere.
And just to clarify for everyone listening, because I had to double check this myself, this isn't a moon base. It's not a colony. It's not a mining operation.
It's a projection. The plan is to use high-powered lasers to project a massive high-definition letter T onto the lunar surface.
A literal logo on the moon.
A logo on the moon. He said, China is furious. They're very jealous. But frankly, they should have thought of it first.
You know, it's an interesting pivot in geopolitical strategy. We usually think of space dominance in terms of military assets or satellites, maybe resource mining.
Right.
This is space dominance as billboard space.
It treats the moon not as a celestial body, but as a surface waiting for a logo. If you can brand the night sky, you have effectively claimed the universe as your territory.
It moves us from Star Wars to branding wars.
And it's incredibly aggressive marketing because you can't turn it off. Everyone on Earth, rich or poor, looks up and sees the brand.
It's inescapable, the ultimate captured audience.
Okay, so we've bought Greenland, we've branded the moon. Let's bring it back to the continental U.S. The Grand Canyon Efficiency Act. The president dismissed high-speed rail. He dismissed bridge repairs. He called all of that boring. He wants big.
And he looks at the Grand Canyon, and what does he see?
He sees a beautiful hole.
That is very deep.
But his main critique is logistical. He said it takes forever to get across.
He views one of the great natural wonders of the world primarily as a traffic bottleneck.
So the solution isn't a bridge. He was very clear on that. Bridges are weak.
He wants to fill in the middle 20% of the Grand Canyon, just fill it with earth and rock.
And pave a 6-lane highway straight across it.
With a beautiful golden toll booth right in the center.
The imagery there is just staggering. Filling in the geological history of the Earth to save, 40 minutes of driving time?
And the justification he gave for it was incredible. He acknowledged that environmentalists are crying about it. He knows people are upset.
But he countered that by saying, the truckers love me.
This creates a fascinating dichotomy.
The canyon is an inconvenience. It's not a monument to be admired. It's a hole to be fixed.
And the golden toll booth is really the cherry on top. It monetizes the destruction.
It's a transactional infrastructure. You destroy the view, but you collect the toll.
Now, throughout all of this, the highway through the canyon, the moon branding, we have to look at the room itself.
Right, the atmosphere.
A State of the Union isn't just a speech, it's a piece of theater. And the audience is part of the cast.
Usually the guests in the gallery are local heroes. A teacher who saved a class, a veteran, a nurse. It's a moment for civic unity.
This year, the guest list was curated differently. It was less about service and more about, let's call it, feats of strength and technology.
Sitting next to the First Lady, who, by the way, was wearing oversized, mirrored sunglasses the entire 4 hours.
Which honestly might have been the smartest move of the night considering the pyrotechnics.
She was the only one with eye protection.
Very true. But sitting next to her was Chad the Viper Jenkins.
Chad the Viper Jenkins.
And why was Chad there? Did he save a puppy? Did he discover a cure for a disease?
No. He is an internet influencer who went viral for eating 140 Trump steaks in a single sitting.
140 steaks.
The president called him a true American athlete.
It validates gluttony as a form of patriotism. It says consuming our product is the highest form of service.
But Chad was arguably the most normal guest in the box. Because we have to talk about the hologram.
The Abraham Lincoln hologram.
This wasn't a recording. It wasn't an actor in makeup. It was a translucent projection programmed by a Silicon Valley startup.
And its sole function was to nod enthusiastically and flash a thumbs up whenever Trump paused for applause.
Think about the symbolism there. It's a literal manufacturing of historical consent. You're taking one of the most revered figures in American history, the great emancipator, and programming him to agree with you.
It's brilliant staging in a very dark way. Who is going to argue with Lincoln?
He's giving a thumbs up. He loves the Grand Canyon Highway.
Even if he is made of light, it visually co-ops history. It says, see, even the past agrees with the tremendous union.
And then there was the third notable guest.
The ex-CEO of a major wind farm company.
Usually guests are there to be honored. This guy was brought in seemingly just to be publicly berated.
Trump pointed at him for 6 uninterrupted minutes.
6 minutes is a long time to be pointed at on national television.
Blaming him for ruining the views and making the birds crazy.
It turned the gallery into a courtroom. Or maybe a stockade.
A stockade is a great comparison. It wasn't about unity. It was about identifying an enemy and confronting them live on air.
It's very much in line with that wrestling atmosphere we talked about in the intro. You need a heel. You need a bad guy for the crowd to boo.
And throughout all of this, we have to remember the physical toll on the people in the room. 4 hours and 42 minutes.
The fatigue was palpable in the reporting. Vice President J.D. Vance apparently maintained a rigid, unblinking smile for nearly 5 hours.
That sounds physically painful. He must have been cramping.
Meanwhile, several Supreme Court justices were spotted in a deep REM cycle sleep.
Can you blame them? It was 1:30 in the morning by the time this wrapped up.
And that brings us to the response. Usually, the opposition party has a prepared speech to counter the president's points. They talk about the budget or healthcare.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries was tasked with this, and his response was minimalist.
He walked to the microphone, stared into the camera for 60 seconds of total silence, sighed heavily, and walked off.
No words, just a heavy sigh.
It speaks volumes about the sheer overwhelming nature of the address. How do you debate a hologram of Lincoln?
Right, how do you debate a game show tax code using logic and charts?
You can't. The logic systems are totally incompatible. It's like bringing a calculator to a knife fight.
Exactly. Sometimes silence is the only logical reaction to absolute absurdity.
But the president didn't see it as silence. He saw it as victory.
Of course he did. He tweeted immediately after leaving the chamber, seemingly while he was still walking down the hall.
He wrote, "They have no response. They're speechless at my success. Highest SOTU ratings in planetary history."
Planetary history, again expanding the scope beyond the nation to the planet.
And we shouldn't forget one final detail from the very beginning of the night that really sets the tone for how he views the opposition. The executive order regarding the Democrats in Congress.
Oh, right. The name tags.
He mandated that all congressional Democrats wear name tags reading SAD.
Legally binding, apparently.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, the tremendous union, the tax wheel, the moon billboard, the Canyon Highway, what are you actually looking at?
You're looking at a vision of governance that has merged totally with entertainment. The line isn't just blurred, it's completely erased.
Whether it's the pyrotechnics, the influencers, or the game show wheel, the logic governing the state is now the logic of television production.
It has to be exciting.
It has to be visual, it has to keep you watching, and it has to generate a reaction.
And if the ratings are high, then the State of the Union is strong.
Or at least 5 stars.
So here is the question we want to leave you with today. In a world where tax codes are game shows and the moon is a corporate logo, where does the line between governance and entertainment actually exist?
And does it even matter if the ratings are high?
Something for you to think about next time you look up at the moon and see a giant T. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll catch you on the next one.